Ford Motor Company just spent $950 million restoring one single building in Detroit. Now, Dan Gilbert, one of the largest investors in Detroit, spent over $100 million restoring one single neighborhood, and that was now just outside of Detroit. Township saw a population increase of over 60% in the last 10 years alone. Now, if you think Michigan growth is random, you are missing the pattern here. And that pattern is about to make some people very, very wealthy and also price some other people out of the market. Hey, I'm Eric Meldrum, and my team and I here at True Living Group help people make that move here to Michigan the right way. We focus on lifestyle so you can make smarter decisions when making that move here to Michigan. So in today's video, we're going to talk about 7 cities where smart money is going right now today, not where it went 5 years ago. So let's dive into it. When we talk about Metro Detroit, there are 3 different types of opportunities that we're going to go over. First opportunity is the Detroit play. Now, this is the urban transformation happening downtown Detroit, backed by corporate billions. Okay, there's a ton of money flowing into Detroit. Next, number 2 is the suburban sweet spot. These are the hidden corridors between the major cities that really nobody has talked about in years. And then third, this is the small town renaissance. Okay, I've seen a ton of people, and I am one of these, myself, is I love the communities evolving beyond their original identity. These are the small towns where people are going and moving because they want a little bit more peace and quiet, but they're quickly becoming a destination for a lot of folks just like me. So if that's something you're looking for in any of these types of opportunities, let's get into the video. And of course, that's the Detroit transformation. Now, when we look at Detroit, the anchor of the city is really Corktown. 5 years ago, this was Detroit's oldest neighborhood and one of the most forgotten neighborhoods. And today, Ford Motor Company has invested $950 million into restoring Michigan Central Station, which is like the centerpiece of Corktown. It's a 30-acre mobility innovation campus that is coming to life right before our eyes. And if you haven't seen Michigan Central Station, it's absolutely beautiful, huge renovation. And this really just isn't a renovation of a building in Corktown. It's a rebranding of an entire district in Detroit. So here's some things that are already taking shape in Corktown. Hundreds of jobs from Ford and partnering companies have landed right in Corktown in the Michigan Central Station and other buildings that are part of the Innovation Center. There are new public parks connecting the 27-mile Joe Louis Greenway, which runs right along the riverfront. So great for running, biking, jogging in the morning, or just getting out for a stroll to see the scenery. And Corktown is home to the first electrified public road in the entire country for autonomous vehicle testing. Now, this is pretty fitting considering that Michigan and Woodward was the first paved road in the entire country, period. So here we are on the map again, and Detroit is doing the first electrified public road in the entire country, which I think is cool. So what does this mean for you as a buyer in Corktown? Well, Corktown condos that were $200,000 3 years ago, they are now pushing $400,000, $500,000. But here's the play. The surrounding area, the neighborhoods like the Southwest, Hubbard, Richard, West Vernier, they are next. Okay, they're the ones that are starting to get that build out effect. Okay, developers are looking at the land. The Greenway is expanding, and Ford employees are going to need housing. The momentum is just starting. So if you want urban living at downtown Detroit with actual appreciation potential, and you're not afraid of being early, this is your window in Corktown and the surrounding area. So if you're on the fence about Corktown or any neighborhood in Detroit for that matter, let me point you to Brush Park. Now, this is the validation that I think the city really needed in terms of redeveloping some of these districts and these neighborhoods. So 10 years ago, this was all empty lots. And today, well, Dan Gilbert and his company Bedrock just completed City Modern. Now, City Modern was that $100 million investment. This was a 400-unit development and the first ground-up neighborhood built in Detroit since the 1980s. And this also consists of 31,000 square feet of retail space, and a lot of restaurants are going in at these corner locations under the developments. There's the bodega down there, which is awesome. There's more restaurants, being slated, and there is retail space still available for shopping and restaurants. So why I'm sharing this with you is because this matters for Detroit. Brush Park proves that the Detroit Renaissance is not just hype. High income buyers are moving to the city. They're paying suburban prices and the demand is outpacing supply. So if Brush Park can work, other neighborhoods can too. And the real opportunity in areas like Corktown, Midtown is look for those similar transit accessible neighborhoods that are about 2 miles from downtown that have not been redeveloped yet. Okay, these are the ones that are surrounding Corktown, Midtown, Brush Park. Those are eventually going to get developed. So if you're looking for a smart investment, those are the places I would go. All right, so next up, we're moving outside of the city of Detroit and we're going into the suburban corridors. Now, these are places like South Lyon, Lyon Township, where Lyon Township has seen a 60% increase in the population over the last 10 years. Like South Lyon's median home price is $506,000. That's up 7% year over year. So this is where a lot of new construction developments are really taking shape. These are priced anywhere from $450,000 on up into $700,000 plus. And what's driving this is the surrounding areas. People are being priced out of areas like Novi, Northville, but they still want excellent schools, access to parks, access to trails, easy access to freeways, and the commutes around Metro Detroit. So Lyon Township and South Lyon start making sense for a lot of people. So the smart play in Lyon Township and South Lyon is actually happening right now. Okay, and right now is, I think, is the best time to get in. 5 years from now, South Lyon will not be a secret anymore. So if you can handle a 30 to 40 minute commute to Ann Arbor or a 35-minute commute to downtown Detroit, this is where your dollars are going to go the furthest while you're still getting a great quality of life. Now, the other area I want to put on your radar as well is Plymouth Township. Now, this is also a premium play. Plymouth Township is not downtown Plymouth. Okay, you have the city of Plymouth and then you have Plymouth Township, but the Plymouth Township is the surrounding area to Plymouth. And here's why this matters. Plymouth has always been a very highly sought after area to live in. And, with that also comes an expensive cost of living, for homes in the area. But Plymouth Township is actually where a lot of new construction is taking shape. People that want to be in Plymouth, in the Plymouth school districts, this is where you can still get, affordable prices, but good amount of space as well. So the opportunity right now in Plymouth Township is that homes are $500,000 to $700,000. In 5 years, I would expect those same homes to be $700,000 to $900,000. And this is the Ann Arbor spillover effect that has intensified prices in Plymouth and the surrounding area. So who is this play for? Well, it's for families who want Plymouth schools without the $800,000 price tag. It's for tech, automotive professionals who commute to Ann Arbor or maybe Metro Detroit. It's for buyers who value the space but don't want to feel like they're in a rural area. You still got a lot of space, around you. Now, moving on to the next city, this is what I call the evolution play. Now, these are cities that have once really been, I would say, on the map, so to speak, and then they had kind of a downturn, and now they're back on the upswing. Not dissimilar from Detroit, but this one's a little bit more west of Detroit, and this is Ypsilanti, Michigan. Very creative hub. It's really close to Ann Arbor, Michigan, so you got a lot of, spillover, and Ypsilanti is always kind of like lumped in as Ann Arbor's scrappy little sibling. But something is shifting in Ypsilanti, and a lot of development is taking shape. New restaurants are going in, breweries, boutique shops are going in. Eastern Michigan University is expanding its footprint. So anytime you see a university start developing new buildings and start adding on, that's always a good thing. So the shift that I'm seeing is Ypsilanti is not trying to be Ann Arbor anymore. It's carving out its own identity as a creative, walkable, enjoyable community for a lot of folks. And the pricing is around $300,000. So the opportunity here is if you want Ann Arbor energy, walkability, university culture, but refuse to pay Ann Arbor prices, Ypsilanti is definitely the move for you. So just understand, it's still emerging and still developing. So you're betting on momentum, not the stability in the market right now. All right, so moving on to the next city, and this is a pretty well-known one, but let's talk about it because there's a lot of things changing in the area, which is Royal Oak, Michigan. Now, Royal Oak, yes, it's already been discovered, but here's the twist. Royal Oak is now once again evolving into something new. The party bar scene, which I was a part of in the early 2000s, well, that's maturing. The housing stock, it's getting some major updates. Okay, and what's changing is older homes are being gutted and renovated. Younger professionals who used to pick Ferndale are now choosing Royal Oak. You got neighborhoods just outside of downtown. So the opportunity is not what everybody knows, which is downtown Royal Oak, but it's the residential neighborhoods, 1 to 2 miles out, still accessible. Those are the ones that are appreciating. Those are the ones that are getting a lot more development. Homes are being completely renovated, and you're getting a lot of appreciation when you do that, as an investor as well. So who this is really for is people who want walkability. They want to be in Royal Oak, but they don't want to pay, downtown Royal Oak or Birmingham prices, but you still need to be kind of in the action of everything. Still want a nightlife, still want to be close to everything, and the location's perfect for you. All right, so next up, we're shifting into the small town boom. And what I see from a lot of folks is who are living in Metro Detroit or coming from major cities like LA, New York, Chicago. So I want to turn you on to some cities that are a little bit more small town. And if you're looking for a slower pace of life, this might be a great play for you guys. Now, the first up is Chelsea, Michigan. Now, this is a kind of an artsy small town west of Ann Arbor. It's always been nice. Okay. It's always had a great reputation, but now it's becoming more of a destination. So what's happening in Chelsea is you do have a downtown revitalization happening, and it's not losing its small town charms, but there's a lot more trendy restaurants going in, bakeries, coffee shops, shops, parks are being built, new schools are being developed. These are all good things for the city of Chelsea. So the vibe in Chelsea is kind of becoming like the next Dexter, and it's really hard to compare these two because, you know, Dexter's really got its own identity, so does Chelsea, and you got to see both for themselves. But what I mean by that is, you know, people who are wanting to be near Ann Arbor, but they don't want to be in the city. Okay, they want a little bit slower pace of life. Okay, so if you want excellent schools, you want to be 20 minutes from Ann Arbor, Chelsea is where families are choosing to stay long term. You know, that's not a flip market. Okay, so if you're looking for investments or you're looking for flips in the area, you're going to be kind of hard pressed to find those because homes are in demand. There's not a ton of inventory on the market. You know, people live here for a long time. All right, and the next corridor that nobody's really talking about is Wixom and Commerce Township. Now, these have kind of been on the map, but for all intents and purposes, these are just like lake communities, a lot of subdivisions, a lot of things. But Wixom and Commerce Township are getting a lot of new developments. You got shopping and dining hubs that are expanding. You're close to 12 Oaks Mall. You're close to Novi for all the big box stores. You know, if you need it, newer homes anywhere from $500,000 to $700,000. You got established homes that were built in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Those homes that maybe they've been renovated, maybe they haven't, are going to range anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000. And what I'm seeing for kind of an outlook in this area is by 2030, you know, this whole corridor will look very, very different, but in a good way. All right, so here's the pattern. You know, you got billion-dollar corporate investments happening in the city of Detroit, and a lot of these city and private, you know, ventures are taking shape. So as an investor or somebody who's looking to live in the city, you know, watch where that money's going. Okay, Corktown, Midtown, Brush Park, and the surrounding areas, those are the smart plays. You know, when you look at cities that have infrastructure upgrades, you know, Lyon Township, South Lyon, Wixom, Commerce Township, those are all going to start getting infrastructure upgrades, roads, parks, transits. You know, I didn't talk about Brighton on this video, but Brighton's also kind of throw that one in there as a bonus. There's a lot of infrastructure upgrades as well. And then population growth is the other thing to watch for. You know, is it growing at a rapid clip? Are a lot more people moving there and having kids and the population's growing? Well, that's a clear sign that families want to be there, and that's what's happening in some of these cities. And then lastly, a lot of smart money moves into these areas early. So the cities that I just showed you, they're all following the same pattern. But here's the reality. The window doesn't stay open forever. You know, 3 years ago, you could have bought a condo in Brush Park for $200,000. Today, it's like $750,000 plus, you know, and that's not even for one of the new ones. You know, the same thing's happening in Corktown, South Lyon, Plymouth Township. So the question for you is, are you going to wait till everybody knows about these places, or are you going to be early? So if you are planning to move to Metro Detroit in the next 6 to 12 months and you want to move where the momentum is, not where it used to be, here's what I want you to do. You know, step one, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out any deep dives that I do on any of these cities and all things living in Metro Detroit. Number two, give this video a thumbs up. It lets YouTube know we're doing a great job and shares it out with more people so they can learn about living here in Michigan. And step number three, if you are serious about relocating here in Metro Detroit and you do want a customized plan, not just generic advice on which cities are the best, you want a customized plan that will help you fit the ideal lifestyle that you're looking for, you know, book a strategy call with us. This is the Lifestyle Fit Call. Link is in the description below. No pressure, just absolute value to you, your family, making the best decisions when making that move here to Michigan. So, like I said, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and book that call so we can help you on your way here to Michigan. So thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.